Greetings, YouTube. This question comes from College Algebra, section 1.6, question 31. We're asked to solve this rational equation. So something like this, we want to multiply the left and the right by the LCD. So if we look at the denominators, they both have the 2x minus 1, so that's the factor that we need. We want to take the denominator with the highest exponent of 2x minus 1. So the LCD in this case is going to be the 2x minus 1 squared. If that's not clear, it's a good idea to probably do a YouTube search on how to find the LCD. There are a lot of interesting tips and tricks on how to find the LCD. So once we've identified that, we're going to multiply the left side of the equal sign and the right side of the equal sign by that LCD. So let me start by getting a copy of the original. We got this 2x minus 1 under 3 plus this 2x minus 1 squared under negative 1. So we're going to say the left side times the LCD and the right side by the LCD. Now on the right, we're going to have to distribute. Okay. Let's see. So on the left, if I go ahead and FOIL that, let's see. It's going to be a 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. Nope, minus 4x. Times 2, so the 2 is still there. And then on the right, if we distribute, one of these is going to cancel one of the others on top, so we're going to be left with 3 times 2x minus 1. And then this is going to be canceled by that, and we're just going to be left with minus 1. All right. So now we have an equivalent equation where there are no fractions, and the solutions of this equation will be the same solutions as the original. Also in the original, we should note that x cannot be a half. So note that x cannot be 1/2. What we did, because we cannot divide by 0, so what we did is we set the denominator to 0 and solved, and we get x as a half. So if we plug a half into the original, it'll make it undefined. So we have to scrap that result. Okay, so what I'm going to do is set this to 0 and combine like terms. So we're going to distribute this 2. I'm also going to distribute this 3. And I'm going to set it to 0. So I'm going to kind of do a lot of steps in one. So 4 times 2, we get 8x squared minus 8x plus 2 minus 6x plus 3 plus 1 equals 0. Okay? So then if we combine like terms, we get 8x squared minus 14x plus 6 equals 0. Notice that everything is at least divisible by 2, so we can factor out a 2, or divide both sides by 2, and we'll get 4x squared minus 7x plus 3 equals 0. Then we want to factor this, so we're looking for two numbers that multiply. If I do the AC method, two numbers that multiply to give us 12, and add to give negative 7. I'm just going to go through the list. Now 12 is what? 4 times 3, and 4 is 2 times 2. So 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. We're going to stop at the line that adds up to negative 7. Matter of fact, I see it now. But we can go 1 and 12, but that adds up to 13, so that's a no. We could say, 2 and 6, but that adds up to 8, so that's a no. We could say 3 and 4. That adds up to positive 7, so since we want negative 7, we're going to take negative 3 and negative 4. Those are the two numbers that we were looking for. I'm actually going to use this box technique to finish factoring this out. I'm going to go something like this, like that. All right. So in the upper left-hand corner goes the 4x squared, and the bottom right is the constant, which is the 3. Along the other diagonal, we take that middle term and break it up into the two numbers we just found. So we have the minus 3x and the minus 4x, right? Okay. So then, if we look at the top two, what do the top two have in common? They both have what? X. We can factor out an X from this little top. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my cursor without moving that number. What do the bottom two have in common? So since we want this to be positive, I'm going to factor out a -1 from both of those. Let me think about this. Yeah, let me factor out a -1 from both of those. I think that'll get it. We're going to just go with it and see what happens. What do the two on the left have in common? What, a 4x? And then what do the two on the right have in common? We could factor out, let's factor out a -3. All right. So our claim is that the original factors into 4x minus 3 times x minus 1 equal to 0. Let's do a quick check by multiplying back. So then 4 times x is 4x squared. -4x plus a -3x is a -7x. -3 times -1 is +3. Okay. So then by the zero factor property, when two things multiply to give us 0, either the first thing equals 0 or the second thing equals 0. If we solve, x equals 3/4 or x equals 1. Okay. We want to check these in the context of the original. Okay. I'm actually going to use my graphing calculator. I got to reload my calculator. I think it's like here. Oh, I think it's here. And I think it's this one. Hopefully it'll load. I think that's the right one. Okay. Okay. So it looks like we're back in business. How did I get rid of that? Okay. So now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to type in one side of the equation. So I'm going to type in the right hand side into my y equals. We're going to say 3 divided by 2x minus 1. And that's okay. Then we're going to say plus. Now the top is -1 divided by the bottom 2x minus 1 quantity squared. Okay. So hopefully that should be typed in properly. So I'm going to quit. I'm going to go to variables, y variables, number one. So I'm calling that function I just typed in, and we're going to test these two results. So first we're going to do when x is 3 divided by 4. We should get a result of 2, and we got our 2. Let's do when x is 1, and we also got 2. So both of these checked out. So then these are our solutions. Okay. And so with that, we will end this session here. And from one beautiful mind to another, enjoy the rest of your evening.